Okay, today we're going to have a look at the economic concepts of scarcity and choice. So to begin with, let's have a look at the economic problem. The economic problem is the fundamental problem that economics tries to solve, and it is that we have unlimited wants and scarce resources. Okay, so how to allocate scarce resources among alternative users, and due to unlimited wants with limited or scarce resources, choices have to be made. Now, what are scarce resources? Well, scarce resources are when there are a limited amount of resources which are insufficient or not enough to meet all our wants. And if you think about it, we all face individual economic problems. We all have more wants than we can satisfy with our resources being our own financial resources or that of our parents. Even incredibly wealthy people such as Elon Musk and Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, they can't achieve everything they want to achieve. They still face scarce resources. And that's true at national levels as well. If the government decides to spend more money on the National Health Service in the United Kingdom, there may be less money available to spend on defence. Now, in economics, we like to categorize things, make it easier to understand. So we categorize resources into factors of production. And factors of production are the things that go into the production process that make stuff. Yep. So in this case, let's have a look at the factors of production with the examples for a cinema. Okay. So there are 4 factors of production we need to be aware of: land, labor, capital, and enterprise. Land is just natural resources. Okay. So it could be literally farmland, but it could also be the coal or oil or natural minerals under that land. Fish from the sea is also classed as land. It's a natural resource. So in the case of a cinema, it would be the area for the cinema or the cornfield to make the popcorn. That would be land. Labor is the human inputs into the production process, be that physical brawn or mental capacity. Okay, so in this case, it would be projectionists, the people serving the popcorn, that sort of thing. Capital is a human-made thing which is used to make a consumption good. Okay, so in this case, it would be the cinema seats, yep, or the cinema screens. These are human-made things which bring you the cinema experience. Okay, and finally, we have enterprise. This is risk-taking by people in order to achieve profit. So in this case, it would be coming up with the offers. An offer would be Orange Wednesday, where if you're with a certain phone company, you can get 2-for-1 cinema tickets and that sort of thing. Or it would be the person, the entrepreneur that set up Cineworld or Odeon or one of the others. Now, if we take a step back and think back to the economic problem, we said the fundamental economic problem is that we have unlimited wants and scarce resources. Therefore, choices have to be made. Okay? Whenever you've got scarcity, you've got choices. And wherever you've got choices, you've got opportunity cost. So an opportunity cost is the cost of the next best alternative foregone. That is what you have to give up in order to make a choice. So, for example, if the government puts more money into education, this means that the NHS may not be improved, so waiting times may not be reduced. Or this evening, you may spend an hour studying economics. The opportunity cost of that is an hour you can now not spend studying science or English or playing a computer game or playing football. Yeah. So an opportunity cost is what you have to give up to get something else. Okay, let's move on to our next concept under scarcity and choice. And that is specialization. Now, the aim of specialization is to increase productivity. Okay, so what is specialization to begin with? Well, individual workers, firms, regions, or even whole economies concentrate on a particular task or produce some goods and services and not others. As they get good at this task, they become more and more productive. The classic example would be in a factory where on a production line, one person does the same task over and over and over again and gets better at it. But we know that the United Kingdom as a whole country, specialises in the production of services, in particular financial services in the City of London. It's what the UK is good at. So what are some of the benefits of specialisation? Well, number one, we tend to have higher productivity. Higher productivity leads to lower unit costs, which leads to cheaper prices. And if prices are cheaper, our companies are more competitive. And that means we can export to the rest of the world, which helps with our economic growth. Being specialists can also improve the quality of the good or service as we become very good at doing it. But there are drawbacks and risks. If the good or service that is specialized is no longer needed by customers, then the worker or the business or the country has no alternative choice as they were too specialized. Specialist workers demand higher pay, and focusing on one task can lead to boredom, a drop in morale, and a high turnover of staff. Okay, a type of specialization is something known as the division of labor. This is when a worker specializes on a particular task, for example, on a production line, completing one repetitive task, so the worker gets really good at that task. Other ways to increase productivity, other than the division of labor and specialization, would be training, better capital equipment, such as machinery, and more specialization of the business rather than the individuals. Okay, let's have a look at our last concept for today under scarcity and choice, and that is economic goods versus free goods. Okay, economic goods are goods that are produced by paying for the resource. So these goods are scarce, i.e. iPhones, Coca-Cola drinks, cars, almost anything you buy, because you have to pay for that resource, it means that the resource is limited, is finite, has a value, and therefore it's an economic good. Free goods are available without using any resources. These goods are not scarce and therefore have no opportunity cost. And these are things such as air, water, sun, and the ideas of for inventions and that sort of thing.